Did you know that having a growth mindset or a fixed mindset can shape your approach to life? Your mindset can impact your journey in various areas, including your business, education, and personal development. Welcome to Dollars and Dreams, the podcast designed to empower you to take control of your personal and business finance. You know, the very thought of money and finance can often send chills down your spine and stir up fear of the unknown. But let's change that narrative together. Through this podcast, my goal is to not only to provide you with useful information, but also to inspire and motivate you to take action towards your own financial goals. Let's rewrite your money story together. Welcome to today's episode of Dollars and Dreams. In today's episode, I want to talk about mindset. And for anyone that knows me, they will know that I am a huge believer in mindset. I talk quite often about money mindset and how that impacts the way we look at our money, how we save, how we set money aside for various things. But today's episode is on a higher level than money mindset. And so I want to talk about the growth and the fixed mindset. I read a book a few years ago called Mindset by Carol Dweck, and it really changed the way I view everything and how I looked at my mindset. For me, mindset's always been a big part of my life. I've very much been one of those people that, I always say I talk to myself about what's got to get done. And for me, it's the filtering of how I keep on top of things. Just because I'm a big believer of mindset and even money mindset, don't ever think for a moment that I am not impacted by times where I doubt myself, times where I feel everything is getting on top of me, or where I feel overwhelmed, or, as I say, there's times when I feel like I'm bashing my head against a brick wall and I'm not getting anything. But for me, when I get into those situations, I really examine where my mind is and, my mindset. And I start to think about what the challenges I have, or why I'm feeling overwhelmed, or what I've got to do to make those changes happen so that I feel back in control. So for me, mindset is about me having control, whether that be over my money, my thoughts, my processes, or the overwhelm that we all feel at some point in time in our lives. I'm also a very big believer that mistakes are there for us to learn from. And that is the mindset. I know that mistakes are going to happen. They're going to happen everywhere in life, or, accidents happen, but we learn from them. And that is the mindset that we talk about. And in her book, Carol Dweck talks about why people will have success and others don't, or why people grow and other people stay reasonably stagnant in where they are. And that comes down to whether you have a growth or a fixed mindset. So I'll go through in a minute what the two different personalities are that fit within that growth and fixed mindset. And that way then you can work out whether you're one of those or the other. It is important, and I will preface this here, is that if you find that you have a fixed mindset, doesn't mean that you can't change. And there are steps that you can take to make changes in your life. And if you want to fulfill all the dreams that you have in life and want to get to where you want to be, it is important that you change from that fixed mindset to a growth mindset so that you can have that fulfillment and you can embrace challenges to grow. So I quite often talk about our comfort zone. If you've ever worked with me in my business or listened to any of my videos and things like that, or my blogs, I always talk about it's important to step outside your comfort zone, because that's where growth happens. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. Everything the first time you do it will be difficult or will be hard. And that is part of what we call the growth mindset, understanding that and learning that. So the two different personalities that, or mindsets that are in this book that's written by Carol Dweck is the growth and the fixed mindset. So the fixed mindset are the people that really struggle with change. They find stepping out of their comfort zone quite difficult. They will always look at setbacks as an excuse to say that they're incompetent. They think that there's a finite level to their learning. And, look, we say to our kids all the time, don't we, that you can be whatever you want to be. You've just got to set your mind to it. And for some reason, we're quite happy to give out that advice to our kids or if you're a teacher, you probably say it to your students. But for some reason, when we become adults, we think that we're immune to that advice. And the fixed mindset will be around that they want to stay in their comfort zone, that they believe that putting in extra effort or extra learnings will not actually get them anywhere, that they've probably achieved all that they can achieve. And if they do an exam or they try to do something and it doesn't work for them, they will quite often just throw their hands in the air and go, it was meant to be. They also don't want to challenge themselves. So if there's something new that they think they should try, somebody with a fixed mindset will not want to do it for fear of failure, because fearing that failure in life or whatever skill they're trying to do, they will look at that to say that they've failed instead of looking at it as a learning exercise and finding out what they can do a little bit more. And one of the things that I find that with people that I work with, both through my Got Money Honey, but also within my 123 financial group, is that they will quite often just say, I can't do that. Or you're lucky, Jen, because you know numbers and you can do all of those sorts of things. But that's not the case. I wasn't born knowing how to be an accountant or how to be a money wealth coach or any of those sorts of things. I learned that. I can't do hair, but I've never bothered to go and get myself trained to be a hairdresser. They have a skill. Some people are more naturally skilled, no doubt about it. Some people have to work harder. But I have a little saying that I use here in everything that I do is everybody starts from zero. You're not born knowing how to walk. Everybody takes those first few steps. Everybody falls down. As children, we are born with what we call the growth mindset, because as toddlers, everything is new and everything is an experience, and they realize that they have to learn how to sit. They have to learn how to hold utensils for themselves, how to walk, how to do everything. It's only when we have a fear of embarrassment or a fear that somebody else might judge us that we start to develop the fixed mindset, because we don't want to be seen in a poor light. And so what happens when you have that fixed mindset is that you don't try anything because you're scared that somebody will judge you. You're scared how you'll be judged by your peers, or people that have been able to do something will look at you in a different light. So you have limiting beliefs about your abilities. You have limiting beliefs about whether you can achieve success, whether that be on the sporting field, whether it be learning a new hobby, or whether it be with your business or personal life. So the fixed and the growth mindset don't go to anything where the money mindset is around your money and how you think and act and feel around money. So your growth and your fixed is everyday life and circumstances. So the growth personality, I'm sure you've realised now, are those people that look at any failure or as a learning opportunity. So if they don't get somewhere where they want to be quite quickly, they will look at the reasons why. So they'll examine what went wrong with me trying to get from, point A to point B. If you do an exam at school and you don't get the marks that you want, or at university, that person will look at what went wrong, what they can do to improve, what steps they've got to take to make sure that that doesn't happen next time, or next time they're further along the line. And when we talk with people and we talk about stepping out of your comfort zone, this is where we talk about, the first time you do anything, you'll be extremely uncomfortable. The second time you do something, you might be a little less uncomfortable, and so on, until you get to that point that it's just an everyday thing. And one of the things that I quite often talk to people when I'm working with them, when I talk about this growth mindset, is I will say, think back to the time that you were learning how to drive. So, you go, you've sat your exam, you get your L plates, and you go and sit in the car for the very first time. You sit in that car, and I clearly remember this. You're shaking with fear that you've never had control of a car before, and here you are about to turn the key and take control of this thing that could kill somebody or, crash. And the first time you sit there and you put your indicators on, you're scared and you creep out from the gutter and pull out, and you've got the massive big gaps between you and the next car. Every time you want to go around a corner, you put the blinker on and you're feeding the steering wheel through your hands really quite slowly, and you're not quite sure how to reverse park. You don't know how to do a 3-point turn. You don't know how to do a hill start, and all these things, and they're all a fear. What if I pull out and a car's coming and they crash into me, we die, or we write the car off? What if I go the wrong way around the corner? What if I take the corner too wide or run up the gutter? These are all fears that we have the very first time that we sit in that driver's seat. But within a couple of weeks, we're going around the corners a little bit faster. We're quite confident that when we put the blinker on and pull out, that we know to look in our revision mirror and our side mirrors, and we're not so fearful about pulling out into the traffic to take off. A few more weeks of driving, and all of a sudden we just go around the corner quite comfortably. We're, doing all those things. Everything that was a fear that day we first sat in that driver's seat is no longer a fear anymore. Within a few months, you're driving quite confidently, and all of a sudden you sit your exam and you've got your P plates, and all of a sudden you have independence and comfort to go and do whatever you want to do. Roll on a few years and we jump into the driver's seats. We're plugging in our seatbelts, turning the engine, flicking on our indicator, and we're pulling off and not even giving it a second thought. So that's the stepping out of the comfort zone that I was talking about. Now, even people with a fixed mindset will be quite happy to do that, because we realize it is something that we need to do in life for most of us. Look, there's some people that don't ever want to get a driver's license because that fee's too high. But we don't take that same approach to other things in our life. And that's the difference between somebody with a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. So the growth mindset will look at, that's just another challenge, whatever it is, and I can find the way of making sure that I can achieve the goals that I want to do. That does not mean that somebody with a growth mindset thinks that they can go to the Olympics, because sometimes you've got to have some attributes. So, I'm very short. I'm not going to be a high jumper. No matter how much training I do, I don't have the height to do that. It's like saying that a jockey can be a model or a model can be a jockey. There are some physical attributes that you can't overcome. But where you have an ability to do something, or something is in your control, the growth mindset person will go, that is in my control to do that, and I'm going to find a way to do it. And so a growth mindset will plot out what needs to be done, and it's part of developing really good habits for your business or your own personal life or anything that you want to achieve. So it's creating those stepping stones. And, the growth mindset is the key really to happiness, of being able to achieve what you want, not feeling things to be too daunting. And it's about being able to embrace challenges in your life. So having a fixed mindset can really prevent you from reaching your full potential, whether that be in the hobby that you want to do, whether it be in an activity that you want, your business or your personal life, or even just social, your social skills. Some people have a fear of walking into a crowded restaurant by themselves. That's not something that I fear, but somebody else does. But imagine how you would feel one day if you could overcome that fear and you could walk into a crowded restaurant or a crowded pub or club or somewhere that you want to socialize, but struggle with it. So rather than having to wait for a friend to come or walk in there to be that comfort zone, just imagine how freeing that would be if you could change from having that fear or that a lack of comfort or the incompetence to be able to take on something. And so your mindset is, as I said at the very start, not set in stone. And it is about creating a plan for doing that. On my Got Money Honey website, I've got lots of ways that you can build out a plan, create stepping stones to achieving it, but also creating milestones. And I think one of the things that when I'm working with people that want to change their mindset, whether that be their money mindset or just their everyday mindset, like these growth and fixed ones, is that everybody looks at the long path and says, how can I go from here to there? And it's almost impossible. Really what you need to do in the changes, it's looking at small changes, re-looking where you came from and how much you've achieved. And it's important that when you're trying to change your mindset with anything, that you set some milestones that you want to achieve. You set something that you can measure that's, achievable to start off with. It's a bit like when our kids first start swimming, you don't ask them to swim 100 metres straight away. We get them to swim little bits out to the swim teacher and back to the wall. The swim teacher then, a couple of weeks later might do that. That's creating those milestones. And, once you start training for anything, whether it be your mind or your body, training is a muscle, and it's a muscle that you need to work on to make it grow. So with your mindset stuff, it's about creating those little small benchmarks that you need to change, that you can see where your change and growth has happened, and recognizing that there is an effort that you need to do in order to lead to change. So, I have a lovely little saying that I use quite often, that there is no change without you making changes. And what that's meaning is if we sit inside our little zone that we're in and we've recognized that we may have a fixed mindset, but we want to be able to do something and make changes in our lives, and we want to get that growth mindset so that we can develop as individuals, you can't just sit there and go, I'm going to change. I'm going to change. I'm going to get this growth mindset. You actually have to find a way to do it, and that's creating a plan. So find out what you want to change. Find out what things you want to be better at, and don't go for the all-in approach that everybody does, because biting off more than you can chew is guaranteed failure for you, because it becomes overwhelming, it becomes too difficult. So look at one small change. So I was talking to somebody the other day about their mindset, and they said that they wanted to do a hobby. And they were sitting there and they're going, and it was learning how to crochet. So this person was saying to me, I'd love to learn how to crochet, but I can't do it. Nobody I know crochets, so I've got no way of learning. My first thought was to that person, have you actually looked on YouTube to see if there's any there? Then, and when I said that, they just went, I can't learn. I need people to show me. But the world of Facebook and the world of social media and the world of Instagram and all of those sites allow you to reach out to somebody and reach out to groups that might have these. So my thing that I said to them was jump in to any of those social groups, whether that be Facebook, Instagram, anywhere, and reach out to them and just say, in those groups, that particularly the community type ones, anybody know how to crochet or know of any learn to crochet groups that I could go to? It's something I've always wanted to do. And so anyway, when I was chatting to her a couple of days later, she did put a comment into one of those groups, and straight away people had come back and there were groups in her area where she could go and learn how to do that. And so something that had been blocking her from developing a skill that she wanted to learn was easily overcome. The next step was she actually needed to show up to these groups, and I haven't reached out to see whether they have, or she has joined that group. But all of a sudden, what was a barrier to her was she didn't know anybody who could teach her how to crochet. She's now found that. And so that's taking the very first step to achieving a skill that she wanted to achieve. So my question to all of you is, firstly, do you see yourself as a fixed mindset person, or do you see yourself as a growth mindset person? If you are a fixed, do you want to become a growth mindset person? Some people are quite happy living where they are. And if you are wanting to improve, what is it you want to improve in? How can you shift the way you look at things to having that growth mindset that you need to do so that you can fulfill all your dreams that you want from either your personal life or your business life? For me, when I'm working with business owners, I will tell them to come up with a 90-day rolling goal setting plan. So come up with a plan for their 12 months, break it down to the 90 days. That then makes you step outside your comfort zone, because if you want to grow your revenue, or you want to grow the number of employees you have, or if you want to have a better profitability, or whatever your milestone is, forcing you to think about your business and then break it down to the 90-day goals is the way for you to move yourself out of your comfort zone and to give yourself those benchmarks to achieving what you want to achieve. And as an individual, that is the same. Whether it be you want to get fitter, you want to lose weight, you want to, do more exercise, you want to learn how to cook, or even you want to learn how to ride a bike, or, take up canoeing. It doesn't matter what it is. You are never going to get it the first time you do it. And it's important to remember everyone starts from zero. So don't let your mindset impact the quality of life that you can have or the things that you want to do in life. So it is important that you reassess your mindset. If you feel overwhelmed sometimes because everything seems to be on top of you and you're not quite sure how to deal with that overwhelm, it very well could be your mindset about whether you're feeling run down because there's so much on top of you that you just don't know how to tackle it or how to set a plan in place to make those changes in your life. So it is important that you look at your mindset. If you want to know any more, of course, I do have lots of resources over on jenrichardson.co. As you know, if you've worked with me, and as I said at the very start of this podcast, I am the biggest believer in mindset. It's something that we're born knowing how to do, but somehow, somewhere along the line, we forget as adults that we need to challenge ourselves, and we need to push ourselves outside our comfort zone to grow or find that happiness and enjoyment in life that we want. So it is important that you take time to look at your mindset. It's important that you think about where you want to be and the things that you want to achieve in your life. And if you need any help with how to help shift your mindset, jump over, as I said, to my website, jenrichardson.co, download any of our free resources, watch one of our webinars, or join one of our courses, where it doesn't matter what course I do, the first thing I always do is deal with mindset. And it's such an important part of your own personal growth. So that's it for today. I would love, if we are not friends on socials, to come and join me over in Instagram or Facebook or any of those social media things. jenrichardson.co is my handle. Or join my email list on our website, so you can sign up to that on jenrichardson.co, and that is where you'll get all the resources that we put out around anything to do with growing your business or yourself personally. So thanks for joining me today. I have loved chatting to you about mindset. It is, as I said, something that I'm extremely passionate about. And I hope that my passion has come through to you, and you can understand how mindset can be a real game shifter for you in your business and personal life. So I'll see you next week over at our new episode of Dollars and Dreams next Wednesday. Remember, the advice shared in Dollars and Dreams is general in nature and it does not consider your own personal circumstances. Dollars and Dreams is for educational purposes only and should not be relied upon to make investment or financial decisions. If you need more help, please reach out to a financial advisor for tailored personal advice. Don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future content. And please leave me a review. Your feedback really helps me to reach other people chasing their money dreams. You can find me over on Facebook and Instagram to connect with me. You will find the link in the bio or head over to my website at jenrichardson.co where you will find free content and learning tools.